Hello everyone, students. So we will continue further with the chapter agriculture in India. And in the previous video, if you remember, we discussed the two major staple crop of our country, that was rice and wheat. We discussed their distribution, the method of cultivation, geographical requirements. Okay, so in this video also we are going to explore more number of crops, both food crops as well as cash crops. Okay, so the first crop which we are going to discuss is the millets. So students, in this chapter, the explanation points are very less. The um, topics which has to be explained is quite less. Here you need to learn more, or you have to study more. Okay, means it has to the different geographical requirements of different crops, the distribution of places in which state it is grown. Okay, the soil conditions or the soil requirements. Understood? So you need to learn those things. So, however, let us discuss the different your crops, and as I'm discussing, please refer the book as well. Okay, follow the book as well, and it will be easy for us to understand. Okay, so first we'll start with the millets. Now, millets, it can be grown both as a rabi crop and a kharif crop. Basically, rabi in the southern part and kharif in the northern part. We'll discuss that also. And the millets are also termed as your dry crops or drought resistance crop. Now, why it is considered so is because it can be grown in the drier parts of our country where the rainfall is less, consider less than 100 centimeter. Okay, so in because of this reason, it is called the drought resistance or the dry crops also. Now, in the millets also, the crops, various crops are included like jawar, bajra, and ragi. Okay, now their requirement, these crops are also useful as a very fooder crop also. Okay, the means the crops which is used to feed the animals. So the geographical requirements of those crops are quite similar, java, bajra, and ragi. The temperature requirement is from 27 to 32 degrees Celsius. Rainfall, as I said, is very less, 50 to 100 centimeter of rainfall is enough for those crops. And the slight difference is there in the soil requirements. Like in java, the soil required, which is clay loamy soil, and in the cultivation of bajra or ragi, there the soil which is there, it can in the sandy soil, it is much suitable. Okay, so how we differentiate the soil is on the basis of the size of that soil particles. Okay, now the sandy soil particles will be larger than the clay and the loamy soil particles, and the clay and loamy soil particle, they are more composed, and when stagnation of water takes place longer than the sandy soil. Sandy soils are more porous. Okay, so this is the difference between the soil requirements of this area. And the method of cultivation in the millets crop is your dibbling and the broadcasting method. Okay, I hope you remember the dibbling and the broadcasting method. Now we will move on to the another crop, that is the pulses. Okay, now pulses, very important. It contain a very protein it contains, so it is good for the consumption of a health also. So as I said, rabi in south and the kharif in north. Okay, now India, if you see, it is divided by tropic of cancer in the center, isn't it? So divides India into two parts. So northern part falls in the temperate zone and southern part falls in the tropical zone. Tropical zone means it receives throughout the year, it receives the direct rays of the sun, isn't it? So as a result, during the winter season also, the temperature will remain quite high, like 20 to 30 degrees Celsius of temperature. So as a result, what happened is we can grow pulses in those areas. So pulses also required a quite higher temperature. But kharif in north means only in the summers, only in the northern part of our country, the summer season will be quite warm. Okay, in some areas, like it is more than 45 degrees Celsius also, you know that. Okay, but in the winters, same northern plains, it will be freezing cold also. Okay, the temperature drops up to 3 degree 4 degrees Celsius also. So here we cannot go pulses during the rabi season or during the winter timing. Okay, so that is the reason rabi in south, in the winters it is grown, and kharif in north, only in the summer it is grown in the north. Okay, so the pulses, there are different types of pulses, like peas, matar, lentil, then masoor dal, black gram, urad dal, then the green gram, then chana or grams only, then beans. Okay, and one more important thing, those crops are leguminous crops. Now leguminous crops means those crops fix nitrates in the soil. Now how they do that means they absorb the nitrogen from the atmosphere, and they, through the nodules which are present in their roots, okay, it will release that nitrates again into the soil. So doing that, what happened is it will maintain the fertility of the soil. So right after the harvest of wheat or rice, we should grow leguminous crops, and this is a scientific way of cultivation that is called crop rotation, rotating the different crops after each and every harvest, because rice, wheat, they take lots of nutrients from the soil, so the soil will be losing its fertility. So in order to maintain or restore that fertility, leguminous crops has to be grown, so that the fertility will be restored or maintained. And now the climatic conditions of the pulses are the 50 to 75 centimeter of rainfall, then temperature 20 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius. Soil condition, dry sandy soil is best suited. It is grown in all varieties, mostly and most of the varieties of soil it can be grown, but dry sandy soil will be very suitable for the growth of pulses. And the method, again, dibbling and broadcasting method. Okay, now we will move on to the other varieties of crops, that is the oil seed. Okay, now oil seed, the vegetable oil which we use in the daily basis in our kitchen, also you have seen, isn't it? The vegetable oil is used for cooking, the edible oil. Nowadays the popularity of the vegetable oil, it is a cash crops, by the way. Okay, and the cash crops, I hope you remember what is cash crops. Cash crop means the crops which are grown for the sole motive of yeah, sole motive of earning purposes, for the commercial purposes. So oilseed is also a cash crops. So oilseeds, there are variety of again varieties of crops included in this group, oilseed. Okay, and oil which is extracted, it is used for the edible purposes. Now nowadays the popularity of the vegetable oil is also increasing in the international market, especially in the European market. Okay, so lots of export is there from our country now presently. So because people are becoming more health conscious, so earlier the animal fats or the fish oil or the animal oil was used. Now the people are shifting more to the vegetable oil. So as a result, what happened is that it is also influencing the economy of our country, because if the demand increases, isn't it, then the export will also increase. If the export increases, then there is a more amount of revenue back to the country. Now if the export has to be increased, then the productivity has to be increased. Now in order to increase the productivity, we need laborers. That means it is also generating the employment facilities also. Okay, so there are many advantages nowadays, and another is not only it is an edible oil, but it is also serving a very important raw material for some other agro-based industries or the oil-based industries, like paints, varnishes, lubricants. Okay, so those are the importance or the advantages of oil seeds. Okay, and after that, the when the oil seeds are crushed, okay, and is crushed, the oil is extracted. After that, the remaining part, the residue, is called oil cake, and that oil cake is also a very important fooder for the animals, as well as it also serves a very excellent fertilizer and manure for in the agriculture or in the agricultural farmland also. Okay, so there is many advantages of oil seeds. Now after that, let's discuss the different oil seeds which are included in this group. Like first is the groundnut. Again, it is both rabi and kharif, and it is a tropical crop. Okay, rabi in south, kharif in north. Tropical crop means it requires a high temperature. Okay, and India is the largest producer of uh, groundnuts, and groundnuts contain more than 40% of oil when it is crushed. So huge amount of oil can also be derived from the groundnuts, and the groundnuts are also of two varieties. One is the bunch type, another one is runner type. Bunch type means it grows like a bush, like a plant. vertically above. And runner types means, as the name suggests here, runner types means like vine plants. Okay, vine plants or like the climbers. Okay, it is in widespread in a large area, and in the ground only, runners type in the ground surface only. So those are the two varieties of groundnuts. And the groundnut temperature is 20 to 25 degrees Celsius. Rainfall is 50 to 100 centimeter of rainfall, and distributed during the well distributed during the flowering season. Soil, land is light sandy soil, and red and black soil are suitable for growing groundnuts. Now method is again dibbling method. Next is the uses. Now the nuts, which is the groundnuts, we can eat it raw also, and we consume it, isn't it? So, and the oil is extracted, as I said, edible oil, and used in the agro-based industries also, or oil-based industries also. Then the oil cake, again, it serves a very important food for the animals as well as manure in the agricultural farmland. Okay, and even the leaves and the stalk of those plant are also used as a fodder for the animals. So next is the mustard. Now mustard, in each and every household we will find mustard oil, isn't it? Cooking is done on the mustard oil only. So it is a rabi crop, and the temperature requirement is 10 degrees Celsius to 20 degrees Celsius, and rainfall is 25 to only 40 centimeter of rainfall is enough, and the soil is alluvial soil. Okay, and it is edible oil, and it can be for preserving the pickles and all. Also we use those mustard oil only. And also the oil cake is also a good cattle feed and excellent manure. Next is your soybean. Now soybean is the best source of the vegetable oil, and we consume it in the our vegetable also, in the daily diet also we use those use soybean, isn't it? And the uses means the soybean is a very good like vegetable because of the oil also. It, because it contains the 22 amino acids which is required for the good health or the growth of our body. Okay, the amino acid means the organic compounds. Okay, and those are very essential for a healthy growth of our body. So soybean contains all those 20 amino acids which is required by our body. So it's a very healthy diet. Now again, the this temperature condition is 20 to 30 degrees Celsius, and rainfall 50 to 100 centimeters, and it can be grown in the varieties of soil. Then but moisture retentive, term moisture retentive means it, the soil should be able to hold moisture. Okay, so in terms of that, the black soil is well suited for the soybean, because the black soil can retain more amount of moisture compared to the other soils. So those are the uses and areas. Now the distribution of those crops. Okay, so students, I want to suggest you that crops, different varieties of crops, find some common states name. Okay, so that you can utilize in all the varieties of crops the same name. For example, like the drier areas, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh area, or the Gujarat areas, eastern part of Rajasthan. Okay, even Uttar Pradesh also. So those are the agricultural states, so you will find those name in each and every crop. Okay, so in that way you will be able to use that all the names in the different varieties of crops. Okay, now we will move on to the fiber crops, and we'll discuss only one crop from the fiber, and remaining we'll discuss in the next video. So the fiber crops, first we'll start with the cotton, and it's a kharif crop, and it is a very important fiber crop of India, and India is the fourth largest producer with the percentage with 10% of the world's output. And there are three varieties of cotton: long staple, medium staple, and your short staple cotton are there. Okay, and the long staple means the not this long, it will be very long, only of 3 centimeter, you can say that. So that is the long staple cotton. Okay, and the sizes has been given in the book, like long staple 2.8 centimeter, and the medium staple 2.2 to 2.8 again, and short staple 2.2 centimeter. If you have seen cotton, the cotton grows in the cotton fall, and even the cotton seed is also utilized for extracting the oil. Okay, but that is not an edible oil. We use in the it is used only in the industries, oil based industries. So here that cotton fall is taken into the spinning machine, and that cotton fiber is produced. Okay, and when that different fibers are attached together, then a long thread, and long thread through that yarn is produced, or a loom is produced. Okay, and the cotton, like during the summer season, there is a high popularity of the cotton clothes. Okay, so the temperature requirement is 20 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius. Then lots of sunshine is required and no frost. Okay, so that means it cannot be grown during the rabi season, or it cannot be grown in the northern part of our country during the winter season, because the temperature is very cold and it leads to the formation of frost. Okay, so rainfall 50 to 75 centimeter, but well distributed throughout the year. And if there is a shortage of rainfall, then irrigation should be provided to the cotton farmlands. And the soil is black volcanic soil, is much suitable for the growth of cotton. That is the reason it is also known as regur soil. Okay, and it is very moisture retentive soil. So the method is traditionally broadcasting method is the way of cultivating cotton. Okay, so in India, the overall distribution of cotton is mainly found in the Deccan Trap area, especially the Maharashtra area, and some parts of Gujarat. Okay, so those areas are very rich in black soil. So in those areas, we find mostly cotton farmlands. So with this, we will end our video here, and now we will discuss. Let us discuss in the group.